Closed captioning for great tastes is presented by Manitoba Pork, locally grown, globally preferred. Manitoba Liquor Mart presents Great Tastes of Manitoba. Great Tastes is brought to you by greattastesmb.ca. Local farms, local foods. Great Taste is sponsored by Manitoba Agriculture.
Welcome to another fabulous Saturday night in Manitoba, Great Tastes of Manitoba. My name is Des Daniels, and we are here tonight with Manitoba Pork, namely Susan Reese, hello, and Aaron Alblas, Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries. So, Flame and Comfort, are we setting everything on fire tonight, or just a couple of things, or what's the plan, Susan?
Well, we're gonna do a few recipes, Flame and Comfort, starting off with our comfort dishes. Nothing says comfort to me like homemade meatloaf and brothy, fragrant soup. So we're going to do a pork pinwheel meatloaf using lean ground pork, and then we'll jump over to our pork vegetable and lemongrass soup using some pork shoulder blade cubes.
Yummy.
And then for the flame part, we are gonna light something on fire. Hopefully not the whole kitchen though.
Not disappointing me, no.
We're gonna make some flambéed pork tenderloin medallions with pears using some sambuca. And yeah,
sounds
should be
fancy.
fun.
Okay, looking very forward to that. And Aaron, you have some thoughts here?
I have some thoughts. I really love how you're using sambuca in cooking, right? A lot of people use wine to cook. Not a lot of people use liqueurs. It's great. Knowing a little bit about what's going on, I just like to tease that there's some familiar yet exotic spices. So that's where I'm going with the pairing. Something familiar, but slightly exotic. Stay tuned.
Okay, do your worst.
Excellent.
All right,
Sounds
so
good.
here we go. Pork pinwheel meatloaf. This sounds complicated. Please tell me it's not. You know
It's
how I
not.
don't like things to be too complicated.
It's totally not.
Okay, so where do we start?
Okay, so we're starting off with our lean ground pork. So when you're looking for lean ground pork at the store, you'll usually find that there's lean, there's medium, and there's regular. So there's just a different fat content in each of those.
Sure.
And CFIA has some ground meat standards. And so for lean ground, it doesn't matter what the meat is, whether it's pork or beef or poultry, it can't contain more than 17% fat. So just a little bit of fat education there in terms of
always need more of that,
meats.
right?
So we have our ground meat mixture here with our pork. And we've added a number of different things to this. So we've got some fine breadcrumbs, some nice minced garlic, a lightly beaten egg, a little bit of Dijon mustard, some Worcestershire sauce.
Okay.
If I said that right, I'm not
You
sure.
absolutely
and a little
nailed
bit of
that
salt
one.
and pepper. And when you're mixing this, you want to mix it. Don't overmix
You don't
it.
want to
Just
overmix
enough so that that everything is combined, but overmixing tends to, end up giving you like a dense meatloaf or a meatball if you're using ground pork. So don't want to overmix.
And you got some peak of the market onions in there as well, right? And that's what this this is coming
in the filling.
In the filling. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a sec. But now this is where things can potentially get complicated, but not at all, right, Susan?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. So we've taken our ground pork, we've put it on. I like to use wax paper. This is a nice little trick. Wax paper, and we're going to use a rolling pin to roll out our meat, and we've already got it pretty much started. You also want to put wax paper on top. It just keeps everything from not sticking,
nice
and
and
it
neat.
just makes it super easy and nice and neat.
No
and you're
sticking.
just going to roll it out to about 8 inches wide and about 15 inches long.
Okay.
And then once you've got that done, like I say, we've already worked on this.
Sure.
So
take that top one off.
Done. We can take this top one off.
And this is where we get busy with this, right?
Right.
Okay.
Just put that in the garbage.
All right.
Wipe my hands. So we've got this excellent fragrant spinach filling.
It smells absolutely wonderful. Well, and you, like the mushrooms, which has kind of got that nice earthiness about it, and the spinach as well. So am I doing this, or are you doing this?
I will put it on. So we'll just talk about the stuffing or the filling a little bit more. So what we did is we sauteed some mushrooms, and you can use whatever mushrooms you want. I used a mixture of cremini and white just because I love the earthiness of the cremini mushrooms, and they hold their texture a little bit more as well. So we sauteed that with some onion, let that cool for about 10 minutes, and then you're gonna add it to your spinach. So the spinach we've used was frozen spinach. We squeeze that out, get all that moisture out of it, usually with some paper towel, makes it super, super easy. And then we've also added some breadcrumbs again, another lightly beaten egg, some chopped parsley, salt and pepper, nutmeg, and some marjoram.
I was going to say, do I detect a note of marjoram in there?
Yes.
Which is kind of an interesting, like it's the one thing, it's one of the herbs that I have in my cupboard that it tends to be like full all the time, right? Because I don't use it that terribly much, so something kind of different in terms of flavor. So
yeah, so marjoram is actually, it kind of looks a little bit like oregano. But I believe it's from the mint family. So it's used often in meat dishes and sauces, especially in Mediterranean cooking.
Right.
So it is, it's a little bit bitter and a little bit sweet. So it is kind of an interesting herb. And yeah, so we've just added some to this recipe.
You don't take it all the way to the outside, you just kind of leave it in that center.
Yeah, so we're gonna spread it out now. What you wanna do is spread it evenly across the pork that's been rolled out to about within 1/2 inch of the sides.
Okay.
So this is going to take a few minutes to do.
Okay. And the rolling, I'm already like getting a bit cagey about the rolling part.
This is, you know what, this is a great make-ahead recipe too. Like you can mix your meat mixture the night before, you can prep your spinach the night before as well.
And I know one of the things that we talked about is once it's completed, this is actually something that works really well with leftovers, right? And lunches and things like that. You can actually slice it up.
Yep.
And put it in a sandwich, which I think is absolutely fantastic.
So here's how you use the wax paper. So you're just going to lift and use it to aid you in the rolling.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
so
that is easy. Mind you, you're doing it, so that makes it super easy for me.
And then,
okay.
So that makes it super, super easy to do.
Yeah.
And then the key thing you want to remember is to pinch both the sides in.
Okay, so yeah, you don't...
And as well the seam at the bottom before you put it into your pan.
So we have a completed one here, and I'm just gonna give this so that everyone can kind of see how beautiful this looks inside, and it really, really does. So, tra-la, how does that look?
Look at that.
Absolutely fantastic. All right, I'm gonna have a taste of this in just a second, but we're moving on. Like lemon, anytime you hear lemongrass, you know that it's gonna be absolutely wonderful. And so coming up next, we have pork, vegetable, and lemongrass soup, Manitoba pork, right here on Great Tastes of Manitoba.
You're watching Great Tastes of Manitoba, brought to you in part by Manitoba Liquor Mart. Enjoy responsibly.